The envelope sat on my kitchen counter like a ticking bomb. I'd checked the return address 3 times, hoping I'd somehow misread the bank's letterhead. My hands trembled as I sliced it open, and the world tilted sideways when I saw the numbers. My name is Robin, and I just discovered I'm apparently on the hook for $487,000 that I never agreed to borrow. This has to be a mistake, I muttered, scanning the default notice again. But there it was, in black and white, my name listed as co-signer on a home equity loan taken out against my parents' house, the same house I'd emptied my life savings to pay off just 18 months ago. I grabbed my phone and dialed the bank's fraud department, pacing my tiny apartment's worn carpet. After 20 minutes of hold music, a representative finally picked up. "I'm looking at a default notice for a loan I never signed for," I said, forcing my voice to stay steady. "Someone forged my signature. I need this investigated immediately." "I see." The representative's typing echoed through the line. "Ms. Butler, according to our records, you co-signed this loan with Clark and Tyre Butler in March. The paperwork appears to be properly notarized." "That's impossible. I never signed anything." My free hand clenched into a fist. "I need copies of all documentation related to this loan sent to me immediately." More typing. "I can email those to you within the hour, but Ms. Butler, given the amount past due, I should warn you that foreclosure proceedings may begin soon if—" "Send the documents," I cut in. "That's all for now." I ended the call and sank onto my second-hand couch, the one I'd kept instead of buying new furniture, because every spare dollar had gone to paying off my parents' mortgage. The irony made me want to scream. My phone buzzed. A text from my younger brother Tobias. "Hey sis, you around? Need to talk about something important?" The pieces started clicking together. I ignored his message and called my mother instead. She picked up on the first ring. "Robin, what a nice surprise." Mum," I interrupted, "I just got a notice about a defaulted loan on your house, with my name on it." Silence stretched across the line. "Oh, that." Her voice went small. "Honey, we were going to tell you. We just needed to figure out how to—" "Figure out how to tell me you forged my signature?" The words came out like ice. "No, it wasn't like that at all." She was using her wounded tone now, the one that had guilted me into compliance since childhood. We needed help. Your brother had this amazing business opportunity, but the banks wouldn't work with him directly. We knew you'd want to help if—" "Stop." My hand was shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. "Where's Dad?" "He's right here, but Robin, please try to understand. Put him on speaker. Both of you need to hear this." I heard rustling, then my father's hesitant voice. "Princess, we can explain everything." Explain forging my signature? Explain taking out a $500,000 loan behind my back? Explain giving it all to Tobias after I drained every cent I had, paying off your original mortgage? More silence. "We thought," my mother's voice cracked, "we thought once Tobias's business took off, we'd have it paid back before you ever knew. He just needs a little more time." "I already called my lawyer," I lied, watching their sharp intake of breath ripple across the phone's speaker. "And I'm calling the police next. Identity theft is a felony." "Robin, no," Mum was crying now. "We're family. You can't—" "Family doesn't steal from family," I said quietly. "I'll see you both in court." I hung up and blocked their numbers in one swift motion. My hands were steady now, anger burning away the shock. I opened my laptop and typed identity theft lawyer into the search bar. The next message from Tobias went straight to voicemail. "Sis, whatever Mum and Dad told you, just hear me out first, okay? I can fix this. I just need a little more time." I deleted it without listening further. Then I called Ibrahim from work, the only lawyer I knew personally. His voice was groggy when he answered. "Robin, it's almost midnight." "I need your help," I said. My family just destroyed my life, and I'm going to destroy them right back. There was a pause, then the sound of papers shuffling. Tell me everything. I smiled for the first time since opening that envelope. Sometimes karma needs a little push, and I was ready to start pushing. I pulled into my parents' driveway the next morning, my phone set to record in my jacket pocket. The familiar two-story colonial looked exactly as it had when I'd handed over the cashier's cheque to pay off their mortgage, right down to the peeling paint I'd offered to fix before Tobias needed just a small loan for his last venture. My mother opened the door before I could knock. "Robin, thank goodness you came. We can talk this through like—" "Where's Dad?" I stepped past her into the foyer. "In his study. Tobias is here too." "Perfect. Family meeting. Now." I found them both in the study. Dad slumped in his leather armchair, Tobias pacing by the window. He brightened when he saw me. "Sis, listen, I know how this looks, but—" "Sit down." My voice could have frozen hell. "All of you." They sat. I remained standing, letting the silence stretch until Mum squirmed. "Honey, we know you're upset." "Upset?" I pulled out the default notice. "This isn't upset, Mom. This is fraud. This is theft. This is you stealing my identity after I gave you everything I had." "We didn't steal anything," Tobias jumped in. "The business just needs more time. Once the Eco-Festival brand takes off—" I turned to him slowly. "The same way your food truck empire was going to take off? Or the cryptocurrency app? Or the luxury dog hotel? This is different. I have real investors this time." "Had," I corrected, past tense. "The loan defaulted because you lost it all. Again." Dad cleared his throat. "Princess, we really believed this time." "Don't call me that." I faced him directly. "You watched Mum forge my signature. You let them steal my identity. You threw away everything I sacrificed for you." "We didn't have a choice," Mum burst out. "The bank wouldn't approve Tobias's loan without a co-signer. We knew you'd say no if we asked, so you committed fraud instead." "It wasn't fraud. We're family." The word hit me like a slap. I thought about all the times they'd used that excuse, when they borrowed my college fund for Tobias's first failed business, when they guilted me into covering their mortgage payments, when they convinced me to empty my savings to pay off their house. "You know what I remember?" I said quietly. "I remember being 16, working 2 jobs to save for college, while Tobias got a new car for his birthday. I remember skipping meals in my 20s to help with your mortgage while he lived rent-free in your basement. I remember giving up my dream of buying my own home to pay off this house." "We appreciated that so much," Mum started. "So much that you immediately took out another loan and gave it all to him." I pointed at Tobias. "Do you even know what he did with the money?" Tobias stood up. "I invested it. The festival was going to be huge." "The festival that never happened? The one where you took deposits from vendors and never paid them back?" He paled. "How did you—" "I did my research. All those small businesses you screwed over. They're suing you. And guess whose name is on those loans?" Mum started crying. Dad stared at the floor. Tobias tried one more time. "Sis, please, you've always been the responsible one, the smart one. Help me fix this." "No." The word felt like freedom. "I'm done fixing your messes. I'm done being the family ATM. I'm done with all of you." "What are you going to do?" Dad's voice shook. I pulled out my phone, stopped the recording, and held it up. "First, I'm going to make sure the police have this lovely confession of identity theft. Then my lawyer will contact you about the fraud charges." "You wouldn't," Mum whispered. "We're your parents." "If parents don't destroy their children's futures." I walked to the door, then turned back one last time. "You know what's funny? If you'd just asked me for help, I probably would have given it. But you didn't ask. You took. And now you're going to learn what that costs." "Robin, wait! Tobias called after me. "I can explain everything." I kept walking. Behind me, I heard Mum's sobs, Dad's heavy sigh, and Tobias's frantic promises to fix it all. The same sounds I'd heard my entire life, but this time they didn't stop me. In my car, I sent the recording to Ibrahim with a text. "Still want to help?" His response came immediately. "Already drafting the paperwork. They won't know what hit them." I started the engine, looking up at the house one last time. Through the window, I could see them all still frozen in place, probably waiting for me to come back and save them again. Not this time. This time, they were going to save themselves, or drown trying. Ibrahim spread the documents across his desk, each page adding another layer to my growing nightmare. "There's more than just the house loan," he said, tapping a stack of papers. "Someone opened 3 credit cards in your name 2 years ago." I sank deeper into the office chair. "Let me guess, Tobias?" "The spending patterns match his previous ventures. Luxury hotels, business-class flights, expensive restaurants." He shuffled through receipts. "All charged to cards under your name. How did I not know about this?" "The statements went to your parents' address. They must have intercepted them." A knock at the door interrupted us. Ibrahim's assistant poked her head in. "Sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here asking for Robin. Says it's urgent." I followed her to the lobby, where a woman about my age stood wringing her hands. Her eyes were red-rimmed, like she'd been crying. "I'm Robin," I said cautiously. "I'm Wendy," she swallowed hard. "I used to date your brother Tobias." The pieces clicked. "You're one of the vendors from the Eco Festival." She nodded. "I invested my entire catering business savings. When the festival fell through, I lost everything. But that's not why I'm here." She pulled out her phone, hands shaking. "I saw this online this morning." It was a local business forum post, Tobias announcing his newest venture, complete with my name listed as financial backer. "He's still using my name," I whispered. "There's more." Wendy's voice cracked. "When we were together, he used to brag about how he'd never fail because his sister would always bail him out. He said you owed him your future because your parents loved you more." The absurdity of it made me laugh. "Loved me more? They drained my college fund for his first business." "I know. He told me that too, but he said it was because you stole his inheritance from their grandmother." "What inheritance?" Wendy looked confused. "The money your grandmother left for his education. Tobias said you convinced your parents to give it to you instead." "My grandmother died when I was 12. I'd never seen a penny of inheritance money." But suddenly, a lot of Tobias's childhood resentment made more sense. "Tell me everything," I said, leading her back to Ibrahim's office. For the next hour, Wendy poured out stories that made my blood boil. How Tobias had convinced her to invest by showing her fake documents with my signature as guarantor. How he'd used her business contacts to secure vendor deposits, then ghosted when the festival imploded. How he'd justified everything by claiming I was the family's golden child who owed him compensation. "I lost my business," she finished quietly. "My savings, my credit, all because I trusted him when he said his sister was backing the project." Ibrahim, who'd been taking notes, looked up. "Would you be willing to make a formal statement?" "That's why I came." Wendy straightened her shoulders. "When I saw him using Robin's name again, I couldn't stay quiet. He needs to be stopped." My phone buzzed, a text from my mother. "Please call us. Your father's not well. The stress is killing him." I showed it to Ibrahim, who snorted. "Classic manipulation. Don't respond." "I won't." I turned to Wendy. "Thank you for coming forward. I'm so sorry he hurt you too." She managed a weak smile. "Just promise me you'll make him face consequences this time." "Actually," Ibrahim interjected, "your testimony could help with that. We're building a fraud case, but with your evidence of prior identity theft and business fraud." He could go to jail, I finished. Good. Wendy's voice was steel. He deserves it. After she left, Ibrahim pulled up another document on his computer. There's something else you should see. I found another loan application from 6 months ago. Rejected, thankfully, but it has your forged signature. I leaned in to look, then froze. The date on the application was the day after I'd paid off my parents' mortgage. They never planned to stop, I realised. They were already trying to take out new loans before the ink was dry on my cashier's cheque. Which proves premeditation. Ibrahim started typing. This is exactly what we needed to. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Tobias. Mum's crying because of you. Dad's heart condition is acting up. If anything happens to them, it's your fault. I blocked his number, then turned back to Ibrahim. How do we destroy them? He smiled grimly. First, we need more evidence. Any other family members who might know about their financial habits? I thought for a moment, then remembered someone I hadn't spoken to in years, someone my parents had cut off for causing drama at family gatherings. My Aunt Ellie, I said slowly. Mum's sister. She always said something wasn't right about how they handled money. Call her, Ibrahim said. Family secrets have a way of coming back to haunt people. I pulled out my phone, hoping Ellie still had the same number, and that she'd been keeping receipts all these years. Aunt Ellie's house was exactly as I remembered it, a modest ranch-style home with a meticulously kept garden. She opened the door before I could knock, wrapping me in a hug that smelled of jasmine and coffee. I've been waiting for this day, she said, leading me inside. The day you'd finally see them for what they are. Her living room was warm and cluttered with books, nothing like my parents' showroom-perfect house. She disappeared into another room and returned carrying a large plastic storage bin. 20 years of documentation, she said, setting it down. Every suspicious transaction, every manipulation, every lie. I kept it all. I pulled out a folder labelled Grandmother's Will. Wendy mentioned something about an inheritance. Ellie's face darkened. Your grandmother left education funds for both you and Tobias, equal amounts, but your parents convinced the executor that you'd rejected the Christian faith and weren't worthy of college support. I was 12. Exactly. They took your portion and gave it all to Tobias. That's when I started keeping records. She pulled out more folders, bank statements, property records, loan applications. They've been playing this game for decades, using one person's money to pay off another's debts, always promising to make it right later. Did they steal from you too? They tried. She smiled grimly. That's why they cut me off. I caught your mother forging Dad's signature on a loan application after he died. When I threatened to report it, they told the family I was mentally unstable and turned everyone against me. My hands shook as I opened another folder. Inside were printed emails between my mother and Tobias, dated just before the fraudulent loan. Mom wrote this, I said, reading aloud. Use whatever name you need. Robin owes us after everything we've done for her. Keep reading. The next email made me sick. She's so proud of paying off our mortgage. She'll never check for new loans. Just make sure the statements come here. They planned it from the start, I whispered. They planned everything. Ellie pulled out more documents. Remember when Tobias's first business failed? Your parents told everyone they mortgaged their house to cover his debts. But look at these bank records. They used your college fund. The mortgage money went straight to his pocket. My phone buzzed. Another text from my mother. Your father's in the hospital. Are you happy now? Ellie glanced at it. Let me guess. Sudden health crisis. How did you know? Sir, it's their favourite tactic. When I threatened to expose the forged loan, your mother claimed the stress gave her panic attacks. She even had herself admitted to the hospital. Was she actually sick? She checked herself out the next day and went shopping. Ellie's laugh was bitter. They're master manipulators, Robin. They've been doing this your whole life. She pulled out one final folder, newer than the others. I've been tracking Tobias's recent schemes too. That eco-festival, he took deposits from 37 small businesses. Over $500,000 all vanished. Into what? Luxury cars, first-class travel, 5-star hotels. She spread out credit card statements, all in my name. He was living like a king on your identity while those businesses went under. I thought of Wendy, of all the other victims. Why didn't anyone stop him? Because your parents protected him. They convinced everyone his victims were lying, jealous, trying to steal his brilliant ideas. She touched my hand, just like they'll try to convince everyone you're lying now. As if on cue, my phone lit up with a social media notification. Tobias had posted about his sister's mental breakdown and how family should support each other through hard times. See, Ellie said softly, they're already spinning the story, making you the villain. Not this time. I started sorting through the documents, pulling out the most damning evidence. This time I have proof. Take it all, Ellie said. I've kept copies. And Robin... She caught my arm as I stood to leave. When they realise they can't manipulate you anymore, they'll try to destroy you. Are you ready for that? I thought about my empty savings account, my ruined credit, my shattered trust. They already tried to destroy me. Now it's my turn. Good girl. She handed me one last envelope. This is your grandmother's original will, the one they hid from you. She believed in you, Robin. She saw what they were doing even then. I hugged her tight, this aunt who'd been cast out for telling the truth. Thank you for keeping all of this. Thank you for finally being ready to see it. She walked me to the door. Make them pay, Robin. Make them pay for everything. I drove home with the bin of evidence beside me, each document a bullet in the gun I was about to fire. My phone kept buzzing with messages about my father's supposed hospital stay, but I ignored them all. The time for guilt trips was over. The time for justice had begun. Are you sure about this? Wendy asked, adjusting her hidden microphone. They might not fall for it. They will. I checked my own recording device. Tobias can't resist bragging, and my parents can't resist defending him. Ibrahim reviewed the plan one final time in my living room. Remember, we need clear admissions. Get them to discuss the forged signatures, the credit cards, everything. And you're sure this is legal? Wendy fidgeted with her sleeve. One-party consent state, Ibrahim confirmed. As long as one person in the conversation knows it's being recorded, we're clear. My phone buzzed. Tobias had taken the bait. He's coming. Says he wants to work things out privately. Perfect. Wendy took her position on the couch. And your parents? Mum's been texting non-stop since I mentioned having second thoughts. They'll be here. Right on cue, someone knocked. I opened the door to find Tobias, looking smugly triumphant. I knew you'd come around, sis. Come in. I forced a smile. We need to talk. He strutted into my living room, faltering slightly when he saw Wendy. What's she doing here? Helping me understand. I sat down. She told me about the festival, Tobias, about all of it. His face darkened. She's lying. She's just jealous because... Another knock. My parents burst in without waiting for an answer. Robin! Mum rushed forward, arms open. We knew you'd listen to reason. She stopped short, seeing Wendy. Dad shifted uncomfortably behind her. Sit down, I said. Everyone. They arranged themselves awkwardly. Mum and Dad on the love seat, Tobias in the armchair, maintaining distance from Wendy on the couch. I've been thinking, I started, watching their faces carefully. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe there's a way to fix this without lawyers. Of course there is, Mum brightened. We're family. Exactly. I leaned forward. So let's be honest with each other. Tell me exactly what happened with the loan. They exchanged glances. Tobias spoke first, his voice smooth. It was just a misunderstanding. The bank needed a co-signer, and we knew you'd want to help. By forging my signature. We didn't forge anything, Mum protested. We just helped move things along. How? I pressed. Walk me through it. Dad cleared his throat. Your mother, she has samples of your signature. From old documents. She just copied it, I finished, on official bank forms. Only because we knew you'd agree anyway, Tobias jumped in. You always help family. It's what you owe us. Owe you? Wendy spoke up. Like how you owed all those vendors. His face twisted. Stay out of this. You're just mad because you weren't smart enough to... To what? I cut in. To spot your fraud sooner, like those credit cards you opened in my name. You went through my things. Mum's voice rose. Those statements were private. So you admit intercepting my mail? Silence fell. I could almost see them realizing their mistakes. Look, Tobias tried again, everything I did was for the business, once it takes off. Like you told Wendy, right before you took her life savings. I earned that money. He stood up, mask slipping. You've always had everything handed to you. The attention, the praise, Grandma's money. What money? I asked innocently. The inheritance you stole, he was shouting now. Dad told me all about how you manipulated them into giving you my share. Tobias, quiet, Mum snapped, but it was too late. Tell me more about this inheritance, I said softly. The one I supposedly stole when I was 12. Dad went pale. Mum started to cry. We did it for you, Tobias, she sobbed. Robin was going against our values, questioning our church. The money had to go to someone who'd use it properly. Like using my identity for fraud. I stood up. Like stealing my college fund. Like forging my signature on loans. You ungrateful little. Tobias stepped toward me, fists clenched. I'd stop right there, Ibrahim said from the doorway, where he'd been quietly recording everything. That could be construed as a threat. My family froze, finally noticing him. Who are you? Mum whispered. Her lawyer. He held up his phone. And you've all just confessed to multiple felonies. You tricked us, Tobias snarled. No! I walked to the door, holding it open. I just gave you enough rope to hang yourselves, now get out. Robin, please, Dad tried one last time. We can work this out. The police will be in touch. I met each of their eyes. I suggest you get lawyers, good ones. They filed out, Mum crying, Dad slumped, Tobias glaring. When the door closed, Wendy let out a shaky breath. That was intense. But worth it, Ibrahim said, reviewing the recordings. We've got them dead to rights now. I sank onto the couch, adrenaline fading. What's next? He smiled grimly. Now we bury them. The dominoes started falling exactly 1 week after our recorded confrontation. I was at work when Ibrahim called. It's done, he said. Police just picked up Tobias at your parents' house. Your mother fainted when they read the charges. I gripped my desk, steadying myself. What about Dad? Trying to negotiate. Says he'll provide evidence against your mother and Tobias if we drop charges against him. No deals, I said firmly. He watched it happen. He helped cover it up. Agreed. Oh, and check your email. Aunt Ellie's documents just hit the local business forum. I opened the link he sent. There it was, a detailed exposé of Tobias's fraudulent schemes, complete with scanned evidence and victim testimonials. Wendy's story featured prominently, alongside dozens of other small business owners he'd destroyed. My phone started buzzing with notifications, former family friends expressing shock, distant relatives choosing sides, church members calling for prayers and reconciliation. I ignored them all and drove to the police station. Detective Martinez met me in the lobby. Ms. Butler, we need to review your statement. She led me to an interview room where Tobias sat handcuffed, his designer clothes wrinkled from processing. A public defender slouched beside him. Last chance, Martinez said. Want to revise your story about your sister authorizing those credit cards? Tobias glared at me. She's lying. She gave me permission. Really? Martinez spread out documents. Because we have emails showing you discussing forging her signature, bank footage of you using her cards, witnesses who'll testify you bragged about stealing her identity. That's not... I didn't... He turned to his lawyer, who shook his head slightly. We're also curious about the festival funds, Martinez continued. Nearly $600,000 vanished into luxury purchases. Care to explain? Business expenses, he muttered. Private jets and five-star hotels? I couldn't help interjecting. Was that before or after you destroyed Wendy's catering company? He lunged across the table. You entitled bitch! You think you're better than me! Officers rushed in, restraining him as he thrashed and screamed. Martinez calmly gathered her papers. That's assault on video now, too. Want to dig your hole any deeper? They led him away, still shouting threats. His lawyer hurried after them, already looking for the exit. Your parents are next, Martinez said. Want to watch? I did. Through the observation window, I watched my mother cry and plead, claiming she was only trying to help her son. Watch my father stammer excuses about being afraid to stand up to his wife. Watched them both crumble when Martinez played our recorded confession. Please, Mum begged. We're her parents. She can't do this to us. Actually, Martinez replied, she can. And she did. Ibrahim met me outside afterward. Banks freezing their accounts. Foreclosure starts next week. They'll be lucky to avoid prison time. They won't avoid it, I said quietly. Not this time. My phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. It was the local news. Miss Butler, we're running a story on investment fraud targeting small businesses. Would you comment on your brother's arrest? I looked at Ibrahim, who nodded. Tell them everything. So I did. About the stolen inheritance, the forged signatures, the destroyed businesses. By evening, it was the top story, complete with my parents' mugshots and Tobias's booking photo. More calls flooded in, more victims coming forward, more evidence piling up. It's over, Ibrahim said as we watched the news coverage. They can't hurt you anymore. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from my father. You said you loved us. I typed back 3 words. I did. Once. Then I blocked his number too. That night, I drove past my childhood home. Police tape crossed the door. A notice of seizure fluttered in the window. Through the gathering darkness, I could see moving trucks in the driveway, officers confiscating evidence of decades of fraud, my mother's prized antiques, my father's leather armchair, Tobias's expensive toys bought with stolen money, all being catalogued and carted away. Aunt Ellie called as I watched. You okay? Better than okay, I realised. I'm free. They're saying Tobias might get 15 years. Your parents at least 5. Good. I started my car. They had 15 years of my life. Now I get them back. Where to now? I smiled, thinking of the real estate listings I'd been browsing. Home? My own home? One they'll never set foot in? As I drove away, I caught one last glimpse of the house in my rearview mirror. The porch light still burned, but no one would answer that door tonight. Or any night soon. Justice, it turns out, makes a pretty good nightlight. 6 months passed like a fever breaking. I sat in the courthouse gallery, watching my family's sentencing through clear eyes. Tobias went first, still trying to charm his way out until the end. Your Honour, I was only trying to build something meaningful. By destroying other people's businesses? The judge cut him off. 15 years, Mr. Butler. Consider yourself lucky it's not more. He looked back at me as they led him away. I met his gaze steadily until he disappeared through the heavy doors. My parents were next. Mum had lost weight in county jail. her designer clothes replaced by an orange jumpsuit. Dad seemed to have aged a decade. "The court has reviewed your plea agreements," the judge began. "Given your cooperation in recovering some of the stolen funds, I'm sentencing you each to 7 years. "But our daughter," Mum started. "Is the victim here?" the judge interrupted. "Along with dozens of others. You'll both pay restitution for the rest of your lives." As they were led out, Mum tried one last time. "Robin, you can still stop this. We're your parents." I didn't respond. Beside me, Aunt Ellie squeezed my hand. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. "Ms. Butler, how do you feel about the sentences? Will you be pursuing civil damages? Any comment on the class action lawsuit?" Ibrahim stepped forward. "My client's family committed serious crimes that hurt many people. Justice was served today. That's all we'll say." We pushed through the crowd to where Wendy waited with her lawyer. "The class action is moving forward," she said. 17 victims so far. They found more accounts to bias opened in other people's names." "Good." I handed her an envelope. "Here's the seed money you wanted for your new catering company." She blinked back tears. "Robin, you don't have to." "I want to. Someone should build something real from all this wreckage." My phone buzzed. A text from the realtor. "Offer accepted. Closing next week." "The house?" Ellie asked. I nodded. "Small, but it's mine. No loans, no co-signers, no strings." "Speaking of houses," Ibrahim cut in, checking his watch, "your parents' property auction starts in an hour. Want to watch?" We gathered in his office, streaming the auction online. I watched strangers bid on pieces of my childhood, the antique dining set where we'd had Sunday dinners, the piano Mum made me practice on for years, the leather armchair where Dad had sat silently through so many family disasters. "Sold!" The auctioneer's gavel fell. "All proceeds to the Victim Restitution Fund." Wendy wiped her eyes. "It feels weird watching their life disappear." "They did it to themselves," Ellie said firmly, "and to everyone else they hurt." My phone lit up with a jail call notification. Dad. "Should I answer?" I asked Ibrahim. "Your choice. But remember, they're still trying to manipulate you." I accepted the call. "Hello?" "Princess," Dad's voice cracked. "Your mother's not doing well. The doctor says her blood pressure—" "Stop." My voice was steady. "No more guilt trips, no more manipulation, no more lies." "We're still your parents." "No, you're inmates now, and I'm not your princess anymore." I hung up as another text came through from my old neighbour. "Thought you should know, Tobias's girlfriend is at your parents' house loading boxes into a truck." "That's not legal," Ibrahim said, reading over my shoulder. "They're under asset seizure." One call to Detective Martinez later, we watched through Ibrahim's window as police cars screamed past toward my old neighbourhood. "Last desperate grab," Ellie said. "They never did know when to stop." "They'll have plenty of time to learn now," I replied. That evening, I drove to my new house, a modest 2-bedroom with a small garden. The kind of place I dreamed of before my family drained me dry. Wendy and Ellie helped me carry in boxes, filling my fresh start with better memories. "To karma," Wendy raised a glass of wine, "and to freedom." "To justice," Ellie added. "To starting over," I finished. My phone buzzed one final time, a voicemail from Mum. "You destroyed us." I deleted it without listening further and blocked the jail's number. On my kitchen counter, next to paint swatches and renovation plans, sat the last photo I had of my family together. I picked it up, studied their smiling faces, all the lies hidden behind those perfect poses. Then I dropped it in the trash, where it landed with a satisfying crack. "Need help painting this weekend?" Wendy asked. "Always." I smiled at my new family, the one I chose, the one built on truth instead of manipulation. Outside, the sun set on my first night of real freedom. Inside, we planned tomorrow, leaving yesterday's shadows where they belonged, behind bars. The prison guard slid a letter across his desk. "Last one came yesterday. Want us to keep blocking them?" I nodded, picking up the envelope. Tobias's handwriting had grown messier during his time inside, but his message was clear through the thin paper. "You're the reason I'm in here." "He's still trying to write to you every week," the guard said. "Your parents, too." "They can keep writing," I replied, striking a match. "I'll keep burning." I lit the corner of the envelope, watching the flame eat Tobias's words. The guard provided an ashtray without comment. "Ready?" Detective Martinez appeared in the doorway. "They're bringing him up now." I followed her to the interview room. Through the window, I watched officers lead Tobias in, shackled and sullen in his prison jumpsuit. "Remember," Martinez said, "you don't have to do this. The new fraud charges stick with or without your testimony." I want to look him in the eye when he learns he's never getting out. Inside, Tobias straightened as I entered. "Sis, I knew you'd come. Listen, I've had time to think." "Save it." I sat across from him. "I'm here about the offshore accounts." He blinked. "What accounts?" "The ones you opened with stolen identities after the festival collapsed. The ones you thought we'd never find." His face twitched. "I don't know what you're—" "Wendy found them," I cut in. "Remember her? The woman whose business you destroyed? She's quite good at forensic accounting now." Martinez slid photographs across the table. Security camera stills showing Tobias at various banks. "That's another 20 years, she said, "on top of your current sentence." "You can't prove," he started. "We already did. Mum broke during questioning last week. Told us everything about helping you hide the money." His mask cracked. "That bitch! She promised she'd never—" "Like you promised those vendors their deposits were safe?" I leaned forward. "Like you promised Wendy you loved her while stealing her life savings." "You think you're so perfect," he snarled. "St. Robin, everyone's favourite." "No," I interrupted. "I'm just someone who finally stopped enabling you. Family is supposed to help family. Family isn't supposed to steal from family. But you never learned that, did you?" He lunged against his restraints. "When I get out—" "You won't," Martinez said. "Ever." As guards led him away, still shouting threats, I felt nothing. No pain, no satisfaction, just peace. Outside, Wendy waited by her catering van. "How'd he take it?" "About as well as you'd expect." I climbed in. "Ready for the grand opening?" She grinned, pulling into traffic. Everyone's already there, even some food critics. Her new restaurant gleamed in the evening light, Phoenix Rising Catering in elegant gold letters. Inside, Aunt Ellie directed staff, while Ibrahim chatted with guests. "Speech!" someone called as we entered. "Speech!" Wendy blushed but took the microphone. "A year ago, I lost everything to someone I trusted. But today, thanks to true friends and real justice, we rise again." Applause filled the room. I watched from the back, thinking of another grand opening. Tobias's doomed festival, built on lies and stolen dreams. This was different. This was real. My phone buzzed, a text from Martinez. "Your mother's requesting another meeting." "No," I typed back. "She made her choices." Ellie appeared beside me. "Still trying to reach you?" "Always, but I'm done setting myself on fire to keep them warm." "Good," she handed me a glass, "because you have your own life to build now." She was right. My new house was almost renovated. My credit score was recovering. The nightmares about financial ruin came less frequently. "Robin," Wendy called, "the food critics want to meet my business partner." I smiled, moving forward to shake hands, explain our vision. No lies, no schemes, just honest work and real returns. Later, as guests departed, I found a letter in my purse. Dad's handwriting this time. "One last manipulation attempt?" Ellie asked. "They'll last anything," I replied, striking another match. The letter burned bright and quick, its ashes mixing with Tobias's in the same tray. Around me, staff cleaned up from a successful launch. Wendy counted honest profits. Friends celebrated real achievement. This was what family should be, what success should look like, what justice felt like. My phone buzzed again. Another prison call. I declined it without hesitation, then deleted the number completely. Some fires needed to burn out on their own. I had better things to build.